Oh my God. Let's move quickly. Oh my God. In recent days, the situation in the Middle East has rapidly worsened. Attacks have happened one after another, and more countries are gradually getting involved in the crisis. They went beyond Iran's limits and made three major mistakes. So on March 2nd, 2026, their remaining government launched a major attack. On that day, a series of attacks began that quickly spread from the countries in the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. One of the main targets was the energy sector of Saudi Arabia, which is vital to the world's oil supply. A critical part of their energy facilities was directly hit. At the same time, there were simultaneous attacks on United States military bases. But among all the affected places, there was one location that became the most sensitive in the entire crisis. This was Cyprus. This small island in the Mediterranean is important to Europe's security in the Middle East. But before we begin, don't forget to like this video. It's a big deal for us content creators. Thank you very much, and now let's get started. On March 2nd, a group of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones, flew from Tehran and headed straight to a British military base in Cyprus. Their target was the RAF Akrotiri base. This move was not just a simple provocation against a military facility. This was clearly a test of the defenses of countries in the Mediterranean and a direct challenge to the United Kingdom in that area. British Home Secretary Yvette Cooper herself confirmed the drone activity that took place. According to the report from the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, an unmanned aerial vehicle hit the base's runway. The damage was only minor, but the British government is not taking this incident lightly. Instead of ignoring the incident, the United Kingdom took a major military step. Less than 24 hours after the attack, they announced that they would send a Royal Navy warship to the eastern Mediterranean to strengthen security around the RAF Akrotiri base in Cyprus. Prime Minister Keir Starmer confirmed that the Type 45 destroyer HMS Dragon will be immediately deployed to that area due to the escalating tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran. According to the Ministry of Defense report, the HMS Dragon has a crew of over 200 people and is among the most advanced air defense warships in the world. It can launch 8 missiles in less than 10 seconds. This ship is accompanied by 2 Wildcat helicopters equipped with Martlet missiles. These missiles are specially designed to take down drones because the threat of unmanned aerial vehicles is increasing in modern warfare. In a statement, Defense Secretary John Healey said that they are rapidly strengthening the United Kingdom's defense in the eastern Mediterranean. This move shows that Britain is no longer just watching what is happening. They are now actively taking action as the situation worsens. Their actions are not only focused on the sea, the British Air Force is also taking steps. According to the Ministry of Defense, within 24 hours, the RAF 349 was able to shoot down targets. This is the first time that the 5th generation F-35B fighter jet has destroyed a target in an actual operation. The operation also included Typhoon fighter jets and a Voyager tanker aircraft that assisted with aerial refueling. In Iraq, the British used ground-based anti-drone systems to bring down several targets approaching coalition bases in Iraqi airspace. This means it's not just one location that the countries allied with America are protecting. In different locations, they are simultaneously intercepting drones and other threats approaching their military bases. While they are strengthening their defenses, there was another incident that expanded the operations of the allied countries. An RAF Typhoon fighter jet that flew from Qatar shot down an attack drone heading toward Qatar. This showed that not only one country could be the target of the drones, but also other important locations in the Gulf region. The second major mistake of Tehran happened in the Persian Gulf, in a location in Saudi Arabia. The target was the Ras Tanura refinery, owned by Saudi Aramco. This facility is one of the largest oil processing centers in the world. Ras Tanura is a massive energy complex capable of affecting global oil prices as well as the cost of international shipping. After the hits on the facility, the operation of the oil refinery was temporarily halted. This was done according to strict security protocols to prevent further damage. Several systems inside the complex were also immediately shut down as part of the emergency response. But the attacks did not end there. The third phase of the operation focused on United States targets in the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. Some actions were focused on areas very close to Ras Al Khaimah in the United Arab Emirates. Because of these simultaneous attacks, the crisis suddenly escalated. What Iran did was like simultaneously testing 3 different countries, each with its own strength and defense, even though the targets were hundreds of kilometers apart. Instead of showing military strength, many said this was a major mistake in the plan. The plan to attack different places simultaneously to disrupt the enemy's defenses did not succeed. Instead, it favored their enemies. Instead of expanding Iran's influence, it actually accelerated the formation of a larger force against them. The simultaneous attacks on Cyprus and key energy facilities in the Gulf were no longer just a simple display of military force. For many analysts, this decision put the Iranian government in an even more dangerous situation. By simultaneously challenging Europe and the Gulf countries, Iran made one of the biggest mistakes in the history of modern politics. Because of this, Iran was forced to face 2 battles at the same time. On one side, Saudi Arabia formally entered the war, along with the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Bahrain. Several Arab countries joined forces to confront Iran. On the other side, Europe raised its alert level after the threat passed through Cyprus. Many neighboring countries declared an emergency alert while assessing the situation. The attack on RAF Akrotiri base, which is part of the United Kingdom's territory, caused intense tension around the world. Any military attack on the territory of a NATO member carries the risk of activating Article 5. This is the most important principle of NATO. This means that if one member is attacked, it can be considered an attack on the entire alliance. Although NATO does not cover the entire island of Cyprus, the British bases there have a special status. This status is stated in the 1960 agreement. Because of this, London has a legal basis to ask its allies for help if necessary. In short, it wasn't just the runway of a base that Iran's drones crossed. They also crossed one of the most important red lines in global security. This is the red line of the world's largest military alliance, NATO, which is made up of 32 countries from Washington to Berlin. This situation has opened up the possibility that not only a regional conflict could happen, but the entire Western alliance might act together against Iran. At first, Europe's reaction was limited to criticism and economic sanctions, but now their position has changed. Gradually, it shifted from diplomacy to clear preparations for military intervention. This change is based on reports from independent analysts who use open-source intelligence. According to experts, Iran continues to improve its long-range ballistic missile technology. Because of this, some analysts say that Iran has missiles capable of reaching several major cities in Europe. When European countries saw that the threat was getting closer to them, and after a place related to their security was also hit, they quickly began to strengthen their defenses in the eastern Mediterranean. The immediate deployment of the destroyer HMS Dragon by the United Kingdom to that area is a clear sign of how fast they responded. Europe is changing its defense. As the crisis intensifies, the role of the United Kingdom in the war in the Middle East is also expanding. According to analysts, Europe's patience has already reached its limit. The United Kingdom, France, and Germany issued a joint statement to show their stance. In their declaration, the 3 major European powers stated that if Iran continues its attacks, they will carry out a large-scale simultaneous airstrike. The aim of these attacks is to completely destroy Iran's capability to launch missiles and drones. If this happens, Europe will directly enter into an actual war alongside the United States. At this point, it seems that Iran is trapped in a situation that they themselves started. In their attempt to show strength both inside and outside the country, they launched attacks in various places. But the result was the opposite. Instead of strengthening their position, the Gulf countries were forced to enter the war, and the powerful forces of Europe moved even closer to areas near them. Now, these forces are not just defending themselves. They are also starting to prepare for a larger operation. The goal of this operation is to completely destroy Iran's missile launchers, their drone arsenals, and the command centers used in the attacks. This plan is said to support the United States' Operation Epic Fury, which aims to eliminate the threat from its source. The current coordination between Europe and some Arab countries is something rarely seen in the history of this region. The simultaneous pressure from both sides makes things even more difficult for Iran. As their options dwindle, support for their military is also gradually fading. The series of drone attacks, initially seen as simple military operations, are now emerging as part of a larger battle in the politics of nations. Iran's simultaneous actions have prompted the formation of a larger alliance and a new arms race in the region. And in the end, these very actions might be what put Iran in greater danger. Now that Saudi Arabia has formally entered the fight, the possibility also increases that other Arab countries directly affected by the attacks will follow. Many of them say their airspace has been violated and they are also feeling the threat. Because of this, there is growing talk that Arab countries might form a joint military force. This could possibly be led by Saudi Arabia and may become a new part of the growing crisis in the Middle East. If a large alliance of Arab countries in the Gulf region is formed, it will be a major change in the security situation in the Middle East. And if this coalition eventually becomes a unified military bloc, it could change the long-standing security system in the region that has existed for many years. For a long time, Arab countries have usually acted on their own. They also often compete with each other and rely on help from powerful countries outside the region. But now it seems the direction is changing. They are gradually developing a unified perspective on external threats, especially on non-traditional forms of attack like drones and missiles. Because of this, they are starting to act as a more organized group. For some analysts, this could be the beginning of a new security system in the Middle East based on the country's own capabilities. Amidst this complicated situation, there is another detail that gave a deeper meaning to the entire crisis. This is the use of Russian-made Kamita hardware found in the drones used in the operation in Cyprus. This technology enables the drone to bypass certain electronic defense systems. For some experts, Moscow providing this kind of technology to Tehran may not simply be an arms sale. This could be part of a larger political plan by these countries. The possible goal is to divert the attention of the Western alliance toward the Middle East. If this happens, the capabilities of the United States and its allies, such as air power, intelligence satellites, and military supplies, may be shifted to that area. When that happens, the pressure will be reduced in other areas important to NATO, especially in Eastern Europe. In this way, the Western alliance is forced to divide its military strength while simultaneously protecting its energy supply routes. However, the response of the United States to this situation includes a very strong military doctrine that can overturn these calculations. Operation Epic Fury, which was explained by the President of the United States himself in his address to the nation, is considered one of the largest military operations in modern times. Its clear objective is for Washington to once again demonstrate its strength in the region. According to reports, Iran's command and control centers suffered severe damage, along with their air defense system, naval bases, and several of their Navy's ships. The American military's approach is simple but extremely powerful. When there is a threat from the enemy using a different method of attack, America responds with greater and more direct force. The goal is to completely prevent the enemy from taking any further action. The speed and scale of Operation Epic Fury were designed to destroy the Iranian government's ability to make critical decisions. By quickly attacking key targets, the command structure of their military was broken. At the same time, reports emerged about the deaths of several high-ranking political and religious leaders in Iran. There are also reports that several commanders of the Revolutionary Guard and some naval admirals were killed in this operation. The loss of these leaders also caused a huge problem for the country's leadership. When the people in the highest positions are eliminated all at once, it creates a sudden leadership vacuum. When this happens, people within the system may start to lose trust. There may also be problems with communication and the movement of military units. If the situation worsens, there may be some parts of the military that do not follow the orders of their leaders. If that happens, the government system itself may weaken. In the worst-case scenario, it could even lead to armed rebellion within their own military. When a country's leadership can no longer maintain security, trust within their system gradually disappears as well. In this situation, the connection between different government institutions begins to weaken, and as that happens, the crisis worsens even more because of the attacks that hit Iran's nuclear facilities. According to reports, the nuclear complex in Iran and several important facilities in Isfahan were rendered inoperable after the intense attack. This shows that there is a clear objective behind these operations, which is to finally put an end to the long-standing problem regarding Iran's nuclear program. Instead of diplomatic talks, direct force was used, and the multi-front attack strategy that Iran tried to implement seems to have backfired on them. Instead of giving them an advantage, it caused severe damage to their own facilities. As the Arab coalition expands and the combined military forces of the United States and Israel continue to maintain strong air superiority, Iran is finding it even harder to recover. What is happening now has long gone beyond simple drone attacks or routine exchanges of fire. Iran's simultaneous moves in the Mediterranean, Red Sea, and Persian Gulf have changed the entire security landscape in the Middle East. For many years, the region has been accustomed to what are called shadow wars, where countries fight through proxy groups, secret operations, and limited actions. But now, it seems that era has come to an end. The current crisis is directly drawing the world's biggest powers to participate in a more open conflict. On the other hand, Europe is rapidly strengthening its defenses in the area. On the other side, an Arab military task force led by Saudi Arabia is gradually being formed. This new coalition could bring a new way of fighting in the Middle East. Meanwhile, the attacks on energy facilities have further escalated the crisis. As the crisis widens, it becomes clearer why the impact of the attacks in the area is so serious. The Middle East is one of the most important regions in the world when it comes to energy. Many countries rely on oil and natural gas that come from the countries around the Persian Gulf. Every day, thousands of ships pass through the seas in this region to transport oil and other products to different parts of the world. One of the most important routes taken by these ships is the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow part of this sea. It serves as the main passageway for a large portion of the world's oil supply. When there is tension or an attack around this area, it immediately becomes a major concern for many countries. When there is a risk that ships passing through this route might be delayed, oil prices in the global market also rise quickly. When oil prices go up, it's not only the countries in the Middle East that are affected. The impact is also felt in different parts of the world. Gasoline prices increase, transportation costs go up, and even the prices of products in the markets are affected. Because of this, many countries carefully monitor every development happening in the area. Aside from energy, the seas surrounding the Middle East are also important for global trade. Many ships carrying products from Asia to Europe and other parts of the world pass through these routes. When there is danger in these routes, some ships are forced to divert or change their routes to stay away from troubled areas. When this happens, the ship's journeys become longer and transportation costs increase. In the end, these additional costs may also be added to the prices of products that people buy in different countries. This is the reason why events in the Middle East often become a global issue. It's not just about the conflicts between countries in this region. It's also about its effects on the economy, trade, and security of many countries in different parts of the world. As the crisis continues, it becomes clearer that each attack can trigger a bigger reaction from other countries. When more countries are directly affected, the possibility increases that a conflict in one place could become a wider crisis with effects around the world. As tensions in the area intensify, some airlines and shipping companies have also started to change their operations. There are planes that used to pass through countries near the conflict, but now they are avoiding that route. Instead, they chose to take a longer route to avoid danger. When this happens, the flight time of the planes becomes longer, and the operational costs also increase. The same thing happens to some ships that transport oil and other products. When there are threats to the sea routes around the Middle East, some ships are forced to wait or look for a safer passage. When many ships are affected at the same time, it can slow down the flow of trade in some parts of the world. This is why many countries respond quickly whenever there is a crisis. They are not just concerned with the conflict itself. They are also thinking about its possible effects on the economy, trade, and the daily lives of people in different countries. As the crisis continues, it becomes clear that the events in the Middle East are not just the problem for just one region. This is a situation that could affect a larger part of the world if it continues to worsen. As the situation intensifies, many countries have started to monitor their borders and military bases more closely. Some governments have raised the alert level of their air defense systems to be prepared in case of a new attack. In moments like these, it is important for countries to make quick decisions and send assistance to their allies. Because of this, every move made by countries is closely watched by the whole world. Any wrong step could worsen the crisis. Because these places are important to the world economy, the effects of the attacks are felt not only there, but also throughout the world. At this point, the previous balance of power in the area has completely disappeared. A new situation is gradually emerging as the war continues. In this new situation, there is no place in the world that is truly safe from the threat of drones and long-range missiles. The very center of the world's economy can be disrupted or halted at any time if vital energy and trade routes are hit. The world today is facing something new. It is more intense, more uncertain, and its effects may be felt around the world for decades as the course of global security and the direction of the international situation continue to change. Right now, the whole world remains focused on what will happen next.